Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender. It's Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. We're going to go through SPX. We're going to check out the VIX. Tesla had some delivery news today, so we'll look at the charts of Tesla, MJ, because I believe that's ready to start moving again. And if we have time, perhaps Amazon and Meta. So they've been pretty well beat up, and I do believe these two would be the next movers to the upside to hold the market up if the market wants to hold up. Okay, so we're doing this intraday about 2:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get these videos intraday, consider becoming a YouTube supporter. It comes with the Discord and trade alerts. I hope to see you there. Yeah, so let's jump into it. We have SPX on the daily time frame. We'll close this up here. I did draw a new line here. It's from the former peak. I was just kind of playing around with it. Let's see if it holds price action here. You have a possible hangman candle here today, but this wedge, we're starting to break out from it. So let's see what happens after this. So looking at the trend itself, we have this divergence here with the smart MACD indicator, and that's nothing new. We've been looking at divergence for quite some time, but I think you're going to find this kind of helpful here, especially on the lower time frame coming up. So the trend is up. Everything's green. Looking deeper in here, we had that 20 exponential moving average. You pushed off of there. That was a nice buy off of there. As a matter of fact, if you would have bought from this point, you're doing great. Shares or options at each point, whatever you trade. And then looking at the moving averages, we're still holding that 8 EMA. The momentum is up and the 20 trend indicator is up. So here, I constantly talk about it. I know it's getting tiring, but the breadth of the market is weak. As a matter of fact, as we're going up here, the breadth is starting to turn down. Now, that's just an object of the large mega cap tech stocks holding things up. So clearly AI is the thing that's happening. But you have Nvidia and you have a lot of semiconductor stocks here, SMH, that are really leading the market to the upside. When that ends, that's when this whole move ends, right? So we don't know when that's going to happen. Thought it would have happened already, and it has not. But breadth this week, and the MACD in this near term, what's peculiar about this one is in this near term, see, we're getting that crossover here back in the green. So we have this negative divergence here, which is not confirmed now because we have the crossover back in the green. So really same old story. We have this sideways to lower MACD that we're looking to roll over at whatever time. So you have the RSI, negative divergence here, and you have the slow stoch still pointing upward. So that's not going to give us a move lower at this time. Looking at the DMARC. DMARC's at a 4 count, no setup here. We had that 13 count up here, had the trade off of that 13 count exhaustion, and now we're starting a new count. Do we go up to a 9 count? We'll see. All right, let's go to SPY. And SPY with let's move over to the divergence board here and look at the money flow index. And so on the daily time frame, we have this distribution going from this high all the way to this high. All right, that means the large companies the large institutions are distributing and selling it to retailers, traders such as us. All right, and that includes like 401ks and whatnot. So we have our Bollinger Band. We just missed the top of the Bollinger Band so far. Not really a setup in particular. Maybe we get a gap up tomorrow, then you'll have maybe a buy opportunity or sell, I should say, opportunity into the strength here, RSI and Bollinger Band. No setup yet. Elliott oscillator still in this near term. There's this divergence, so no confirmation on this new high at this point. Okay, so let's go over to the VIX. I'm going through these really quickly because we do this each and every day, and I know I'm constantly repeating. If you're new here, just stick along. This is like a storyline. We're checking things out. We're figuring out what's happening next. And one of the biggest clues here is the VIX. The VIX is holding steadily above that 8 EMA and the 50 and the 20. So the momentum's up. The trend is up. The only issue is it's into resistance. Now, the market can keep grinding up and this can go up, but this is going to decouple at some point. This has to break down or break out, right? So get into the apex here. And that's going to be kind of the breaking point when the market decides to roll over or stop grinding to the upside. Sorry about that noise in the background, you guys. My office is right against the washing machine. Let's go to, how about MJ? Let's go to MJ first. Okay, so looking at MJ, we had this bullish falling wedge here. He had the breakout from possible news from President Trump, just hinting that this, CBD is going to be good for the medical industry and such. And we're getting this pullback here. So in the lower time frame, this is just a little bull flag. So we could go to breakout here directly from this point, but a key spot would be the 40, and also to the downside, this 35. Now you could back test further and start closing the gap, but we're already above this really good former resistance, now support. So I wouldn't be surprised if this consolidation started to break out to new highs here. And as I constantly talk about, we're really looking for this 55 area with a neckline right above here, and then we'll look for a significant pullback after that move. And so we're just now in our first, so we had this bearish rise, bullish falling wedge. We broke out from that, and we're really just looking for this first wave to complete, and then you're going to have some sort of wave two. Is it going to be really deep? Is it going to back test this wedge? We don't know yet. It could just stay into this range that we have here. So we're just at the bottom of that range. We're climbing into this area, and we're looking to move on to the next level up here. So it could take some time. We close this big gap here. And that's where we had our breakdown. There's also a lot of trade action here. And so there's a volume node, a volume shelf here as well. So that's what we're having trouble fighting against. But eventually, we're looking at this breaking out to the upside. Okay, let's go over to Tesla as promised. So as usual, we have a bull bear scenario on Tesla. If we go to our bear scenario, we're having this bearish engulfing candle here after the delivery. So we had deliveries. I believe they did 495,000, but obviously that's misleading because you had the expiration of the tax credit last month here in September. And so really, should it drop off after there? And then at that, you only had 15,000 of the higher end vehicles delivered. So is this really as good as it seems, or is this really the peak? So if you're in the camp of this peaking and those deliveries, that's it. Here's the buy the rumors, sell the news, then this is done. And this should be a nice reversal candle. Maybe tomorrow we get a gap up, inside day, harami, and continuation. Okay, so those are the things you look at for a bearish scenario. And now if you're bullish, you want to notice we had that B wave here. You had the A, B, and here's a C. With the 5 wave, this would be a leading diagonal, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With this is an ending expanding diagonal if we go down to the lower time frames, which we're not. But here, this is a much more bullish scenario where we go much, much higher. And so what's happening here is you still have that ABC, but this is a huge ending diagonal where you have each wave is an ABC. So you have 1, 2, a really big 3, 4. So you see how this is expanding, and 5, which should be a very large move, and that should reflect on the market as well. And so what's happening here, you have the same scenario where it's an AB, you have the B triangle, and now we're looking at a nesting of a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and we want that to play out. So 3, 4, and this 5 becomes a 1, right? So 1, 2, or you could say it's the ending of wave 3. So you can count it either way. One's just more bullish than the other. So we're going to be a little more conservative and say this is the end of wave 3 in the purple, and we need to complete wave 4, which we're already in. If you take the lower degree, wave 4, the beginning of it, which would be that fifth wave, then you have the 50% retracement where price action came back to now. This area, this zone, and especially the low of wave 4 should hold. Okay, if you're bullish, that's what you're looking for. And then you should have wave 4 and 5 continuing higher and such. And that should start to expand, as a matter of fact, especially when you get to that turquoise wave 1 and 2. And it should be pretty obvious when Tesla starts just taking off, for example, like this move here. Okay, and also just a note for the bearish scenario, if this is a ending expanding diagonal, then you'll look for the first target down here to be the beginning of that diagonal. Okay, so we should be looking for a target somewhere around 415 to be that zone for the first area, maybe as a wave 1 to the downside and then a bounce or so. So we'll kind of keep an eye out on that and see how this plays out. No matter what, you can always have a bullish and bearish scenario, but the Tesla's been a kind of a good indicator of what's going on in the overall market. So, did we mention anything else? Okay, just so we have an idea, there's 2 ways, again, you can look at these. So you have Amazon, who has a lower high, but it has not broken down from a significant low yet, okay? So that's still possible, but it's already been beat up. It's already seen some sort of correction, and so far it's only a 3-wave move, okay? So that's corrective. If this needed to, if it's going to go get new highs, if the market is going to continue higher, then this is probably a wave 4. And you're looking at some sort of ending move here, may even overlap as an ending diagonal to where you get new highs, and just a smaller move, it may even contract a bit, okay? So that would be the new high scenario if the market's going to continue grinding higher. And again, Meta, although it made brand new highs, it's only a 3-wave move so far, and I bet you it's oversold already. See, and we're getting a slow stoke pulling up here. So if you're looking to be long, these are probably some good plays. The other way to kind of show this as an example, maybe as a bear, is to say, okay, well, these were the first to lead, right? And so they may get their bounce, they may start to go a little bit higher, but these other ones, these other names should start to go much lower. So you have NVIDIA that's really, really cranking up there and sending off some sell signals, some divergent signals, warning signals, I should say. And then you have Google, who just really hasn't gone anywhere to the downside. So you have a lot of potential to these. And this Microsoft, obviously could bounce a little bit higher, but it's already really corrected for the most part. So you have a lot of room for these names. Tesla could just really, it led us to the downside last time for 2022 into 2021. And no, that's this one right here. So, which it did, it led us there. And then going into the April crash, it completely ripped to the downside while the market hardly even moved at first. This led it down there, and then the market had that last finish, that tank at the end. Okay, and then Apple hasn't even been scratched yet. So again, a lot of potential from this Mag 7. And you can look at this as well. Here's the Mags ETF. It just hasn't been scratched at all. Also, just to give you a heads up, we'll give you a bonus. Here's BTC. BTC, the Bitcoin, is a clear flat pattern at this point, and we're retracing. Whoops. That's not the right tool. And so we're retracing it to that golden pocket, getting just above there. You have the 786 that's right above next. But, obviously, if this is going to reverse here, you see you had that nice move off the 50%. Whenever you're going for retracements, or 50% is a really good spot to take profit off. And this is a reason why you get that first A wave here and then a B for a flat pattern, nice deep retracement. And now you're getting an impulse wave for a wave C that could be done here and gap down maybe into tomorrow. I know this isn't 24 hours on, always on, at least the weekend for Thinkorswim. And then if it does want to go higher, you have the 786 right up top there. So again, is this done? Is the top here and this just a corrective move to go lower? Is everything else set up to go lower? Or are we going to see those names that I just listed start to go higher? Is Tesla really just giving us a fake out to the downside and continuing higher? Those are the things we're going to just look at while we assess what's happening in an overall market. So NQ, just again, just taking a look at the top here to top, we're right there, and we have this huge going way back to 2022, that correction we were talking about earlier, and we're in this wedge right now. So is this where it ends? I mean, that's what we're looking for. It's been so resilient. We closed the gap that would gap down, up today, close that gap, and clearly we're pushing off, and that's a potential hangman candle there. So looking at the other names, you have IWM, which is still continuing to do the same thing, just back test, but now it made it to that golden pocket retracement. In DIA, same concept. It's just right here, right on it. And that what we talked about in the Discord earlier was just, try to keep our focus clear and go to SPY. I did that not last weekend, but the weekend before, just really emphasized one chart and took off the log scale, went to the analog and said, keep it simple. Okay, here's your analog. Just like that former area here is real clean. Didn't get a back test of it, but if you would have drawn this to this high here, you would have gotten the back test. I just moved that one, so it was perfectly clean, and just kept this one. The only thing I did with this is extend the line out till it converged here. That's all. So we're getting so tight price action. We used the body here because we wanted to use that point. That's the same thing. I didn't change anything. And then we want to make sure that all of these points touched here on this. And you got that a little throw over for the tweezer top there, broke down from the wedge and is now perfectly back testing it with the hangman candle. So is this the reversal? We'll see. And something I did not mention in the beginning is that we don't have the employment data tomorrow because the government is shut down. What we do have is a possible catalyst for the presidential whatever department, the labor department, to start firing people. That's what the headline is. So is that catalyst tomorrow where they fire people? Well, you have Congress, you have the Senate going into they're going to vote at about 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if they're going to vote and they can't get to a resolution and they start firing people, then, maybe that's the catalyst for this to have this continuation to the downside, and we get that actual reversal in a weak market. Okay. All right. And I said weak economy and not weak market. The market's strong. The economy is not. All right. So let me get this out to you. I appreciate you guys. We could go down to the 65 for just a second here. Sorry. I know that we want to see things going into, so we can learn off of them. We're not quite to the options expected move yet. We had this move here. Is this going to be a lower high? Possibly. We're still holding trend, so we have nothing to kind of change that yet. Here's one thing that I want to talk about with that trend, the smart MACD though, is this has done pretty well here in the past. It's kind of a isolated oscillator, so you don't get it's not the same kind of movement as the regular MACD, which is not range bound. So you have this high here, and then you made a new slight high, and that was this divergence right here. Okay, again, sorry about the background noise there. That should be done, that cycle now. So, and then you got this negative divergence here, and that ended up playing out for a nice move. Okay, and then in the near term, this happened again. So you had this high right here, and then you had a divergent high, and then that completely played out. Now, the big question is this new high a same part of this divergence? So let's borrow this over here. And are we looking for a rollover from this point? So if this starts to work out for us, this indicator, and really smooth out the MACD for us in our trend, then I'm going to, really start to use this with you guys, and maybe we can look at making this a indicator and start spreading it out for everybody. I had to build I didn't make this up, but I had to build it. It took me a while yesterday on the on Thinkorswim. So yeah, so looking at the moving averages, we know that we're positive here all the way up, 8 EMA. And here's our regular MACD, which shows, after this correction, still a negative divergence from the highs. And in the very, very near term here, we, again, have these divergences on the RSI right here. All right. So this is a slow Stoch starting to roll up. So do we go get tag this options expected move? I wouldn't doubt it, because we're so close to it. If we do not touch that, then there's still a possibility of hitting the lower end. I'm not saying that's going to happen. That's a huge move, but it's still a possibility. DMARC. All right, we had a 9 count. They gave us the sell right here, the exhaustion. So that's a beautiful 9 count sell, 9 count sell. It's a great setup, especially if you're really, really short time frame. Now this money flow, we had that divergence right here that clearly burnt that divergence. Call it burning through. So do we have one from this high to this high? I'm not gonna. We already had a correction through here, so let's look in this near term. What happens? There's no setup there. And once again, we had a sell signal off that Bollinger Band in an overbought situation. So there's that sell signal, a great setup there, but we're still holding trend, okay? And that Elliott oscillator, we have this new peak here. Let's see in the near term what happens. No real setup off of the short term analysis here. So let's go over to the VIX, and then we'll send this out. I don't want to keep you too long. I know your time is precious. So we have the VIX here. And we'll go down to the 65 minute, and we're kind of setting up this. I have this triangulation right here, and so we're pulling back. But the notable thing that we want to look at is having these higher lows. Okay, you have this high, you have this higher low. We talked about this leading diagonal breakdown, and it came back to some retracements, and it held. All right, and so you have this gap up, and we made a new high here, and with some of these indicators that it wasn't a divergent high. So let's look at this possibly being another just kind of setup to go higher. So again, higher low. And do we get another higher low up here? We don't want to break down from this low. And then this could end up screaming higher. But you see it's in an equilibrium all the way through here. So break out or break down. That's what we'll be looking for. All right. Thanks for joining us here at OptionsTender. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the Discord.